Michael, your impressions of Chicago tonight, because Derrick Rose declared the importance of this game, and then he and the team came through and backed it all up.
Well, they played probably their best game of the playoffs, John, and there's so many indicators. 34 assists on the road out of 41 baskets. I mean, that's an extraordinary number. For once, Derrick Rose didn't even take the most shots on his team. Carlos Boozer did that with 16 shots. Rose took only 14 shots, by far his lowest amount, and 18 fewer than when the Bulls lost a couple of games ago down here in Atlanta, when he missed 20 out of 32 and came under a lot of criticism. But they shared the ball. They played that trademark defense. They shot 53%. And they're very much like Miami, a work in progress. The Bulls have like 7 or 8 new players on this team, all of whom are in the rotation, all of whom Tom Thibodeau will play at crunch time. And it's a very different team from Miami in terms of the level of fame. But the Bulls, think they're on to something, and they're still figuring it out because they've gone from 0 playoff victories as a team now to 2.
If I can borrow from Tony Kornheiser, your PTI foil, Heat Bulls, who you got?
Well, certainly Miami's going to be the favorite, and by that I mean the betting favorite. And that's one way to look at favorite. The other thing is you've got 2 future Hall of Fame players playing at an exceptional level in LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. And so that is where Miami begins. But I think the Bulls are going to be much better off playing as an underdog. I mean, that certainly fits their personality as a team, from Rose to Tom Thibodeau, their rookie head coach, to Joakim Noah. They like that role of playing as the underdog, and they're certainly going to be in it. I mean, I'd have to look at Miami at this point as being the favorite. But you know what? I think that this Bulls team has been easy to underrate in a lot of ways, even though they led the league with 62 victories, John, because they got Derrick Rose and not a lot of other decorated players. Boozer's not had a really great playoff, obviously, until this game. And people look at them and say, wait a minute, it's LeBron, it's Wade, it's Bosh versus Derrick Rose. It's much more complex than that, but that's going to be the instant analysis.
You certainly have a feel, a pulse for the city of Chicago. We've had the Blackhawks here win the Stanley Cup last year. The Bears go to the NFC Championship game. What is the buzz around this Bulls team right now in terms of Chicago and where they fit?
Well, John, that's an interesting question. In talking with people, the Bulls set viewership records this year for local telecasts of Bulls games. More people watched the Michael Jordan Bulls play locally. I mean, and some of that might be a function of more sets that have cable and receive the Bulls on whatever they're on. But there's also some expectations because there has been a relatively recent run of success, those championship teams. And there's one other factor. Derrick Rose is beloved in a way in Chicago that few athletes have been. I mean, as beloved as Jordan was and is, and guys like Walter Payton and Mike Ditka and so many others in the history of the Chicago sports scene, hardly any of them were from Chicago. Dick Butkus is from Chicago, but hardly any are from Bobby Hull, you name it, whatever the sport is. Derrick Rose is one of us. And so the sort of adoration for him and the way he plays and the way he conducts himself has created a level of interest that I don't think many people expected, not even the Bulls themselves. And so there is a tie, a bond with this team, and people are really fascinated by them and have come out in a way that I don't think anybody expected a couple of years ago.